And so I just quit.
We stand for the Pledge Allegiance. Everyone silent their phone, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marianne, could you do the roll call?
Here.
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 Here. All right, we have quorum. Go to discussion, information items, FOIA requests.
4, Bob Skolnick from the Landmark was looking for grant information from the Arthur Foundation. Josh Fine from HBO Real Time Sports, where they were doing a FOIA on the percentage of students playing football in high school and then the numbers back in 2012 through 13. Ricardo Mora was Norwich News, copy of the SAT document with results for each school in the district. And then another follow-up from HBO Real Sports.
All right. We still have the police department radio equipment on our list here. Any updates on that? No updates on that. Okay, it's the opportunity for visitors, statements. I see no visitors in the audience. We'll move on to give a chance for the board to identify any additional discussion items. Looking to my left. Any? To my right? None? All right. Move already to the consent agenda.
Resolved, Board of Education, Township High School District 2, Cook County, Illinois hereby takes the following action on the listed consent agenda items. Approves minutes from the meetings held on September 11 and 25, 2018, open and closed. Approves course fees for 2019-2020 school year as presented and amended in the October 9, 2018 board agenda packet.
Second.
Gary, Marianne, had made a typo on the edit. You caught that, didn't you?
It's fixed.
Okay, and Gary, we talked about the fees last time, and so we decided to put it in the consent agenda.
Okay. All right. Any discussions? Looking to my left. Any questions? To my right? No? All right. Let's go for the vote then.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Sierra?
Yes.
Mr. Smithing?
Yes.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Richard?
Yes. All right. Old business. Action items. Life safety items, capital improvements.
No update. We met this morning with the electrical, no action items, I should say. We met this morning with our engineer as well as our architect, and we began to lay out a tentative schedule to replace the unit over the pool. That was one of the items in the life safety dollars the board approved last October. And so we laid out a tentative schedule. We reviewed the engineer's proposal and plans, and I'm scheduling a facilities advisory council meeting for the end of October. They'll be able to see that. The bid should go out in November, and the board would have an acceptance to approve a bid at the meeting in December. That's my tentative schedule right now. That's all I have for that.
Okay. Move on to new business. Payment of bills.
Scott and I received questions from 2 board members on bills, Mr. Smithing and Mr. Walsh. So Scott, please go through those questions and identify the page.
Okay, on board book page 50, under Arrigo Mechanical, repairs to the cafeteria AHU. The cafeteria unit had a valve that failed and caused the unit to lose its refrigerant. The valve was replaced and new refrigerant was added.
Do we have problems with the equipment in that? It seems like every month there's a significant bill for repairs in there. And our deal with our food services, we have to pay all the costs and all the repairs. Are we confident that that's pretty properly taken care of and they should keep being repaired and all?
That was the roof unit,
This was the
correct?
roof unit.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
so-
lost the AC
Oh,
into the
I'm
cap.
mixing up for I
So-
said the wrong thing on that. Okay.
Yeah, that's the roof unit.
Roof unit.
And that was the one last summer or the summer before we had the coil bust, and
Right.
they were able to replace the coil. So we piece them together
Okay.
on a regular basis.
Sorry.
Okay, also on board book page 50, Under Sports Supply Group, short sleeve crew shirts for $1,000. This was shirts purchased for the girls' PE leaders. Student fees were used to pay the cost. On board book page 52, under first student transportation, band transportation for $1,319. This was the cost associated to have our band participate in the Von Steuben Day Parade.
That was for yellow school buses, we paid $1,300.
Yes. For the entire band to partake in it, so I believe it was three buses.
Okay.
And they got to sit there for the whole
And
time.
wait for the parade to end and then back.
Well, and part of that is they bring
All their
all
equipment.
their equipment.
So
and
it may even been
You
4.
have usually the back of the buses are filled with all the band equipment.
On board book page 52, under first student football transportation for $1,083. That was the cost associated to transport all football levels to Bishop McNamara High School in Kankakee. On board book page 54, under Gordon Flesh, copier rotation for $1,000. We had 4 copiers moved to address high volume issues as a preventative approach. We had to have the vendor move the machines to avoid any risk of voiding the service and maintenance agreement. So, little history on this one: our math department runs a lot of Xeroxing, so we just swapped out the high volume ones and put the lowest ones in to try to see if we can let these machines last a little longer.
The moving the machines not covered under the maintenance for that?
It was not. So it was $250 a machine. As part of that was they moved it and then they reconnected it to the network and synced up the paper cut software that's on them.
Okay, thank you.
Board book page 55 under high school district organization for $802. This was the annual dues for the district. The dues are based off of our student enrollment.
What is these? I don't
High school
recall seeing
district,
that.
high school, we've been a member of that at least 8 years that I've been here. That's the High School Superintendents Association,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's how we got, like,
Okay,
that's the group that advocates, like, when we got rid of Park, we got SAT adopted and
Okay.
some of that stuff.
so it's a superintendent?
Yes.
I think you put in superintendent's group before.
Yes, high school superintendents.
Okay, that one I know about.
Okay.
Okay, board book page 55 under Illinois State Police for $4,500. This was to prepay the state police for our annual fingerprinting cost.
So it's a fixed fee for the year?
We basically spend $4,500 to have all our prints processed. Basically, you put it on there and they just credit it until we get down to a certain dollar amount, and then they want us to recredit it.
Oh,
It's 39.50 every time we have somebody fingerprinted, 37.50 every time we have somebody fingerprinted from the state police to run their background.
so it's well over 100 people a year then?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Board book page 56, Kiefer USA for $2,600. We had the main gym rescreened. The screening was done by the installer Kiefer, and this was to ensure that the floor is will stay under warranty. Board book page 58 for Quest. District 95 August lunches for $9,300. With Quest, the district pays upfront the cost, and then the bill is sent off to the districts, and the local satellite districts reimburse our district. Board book page 60 under Worthington Direct, furniture for the College and Career Academy. This was $6,880 worth of classroom furniture, which was purchased to allow for group configurations and flexible seating options within the new College and Career program. We did use Title I dollars to purchase the furniture. And then on the check listing, on board book page 66, under Madeline Doyle, this was for repertoire dance class. We reimbursed Madeline Doyle for the cost of the uniforms, and the cost was reimbursed back to her. The cost was using student fees collected for the classes.
That's all the questions that were submitted, both from Mr. Smith and Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next item is the approval of the activity count.
We have to approve the
We have
bills.
to
We have to
do,
approve the bills, okay.
we have to vote.
So would somebody want to read have we read the resolution?
It's
Yes.
up there if you want to read it.
Did we read it yet?
Resolve the Board of Education Township High School District 2A, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the payment of bills as presented and listed in the October 9, 2018 Board Agenda Packet.
Second.
No additional questions? Okay, go with the vote.
Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
Mr. Smithing,
Yes.
Ms. Towner,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Dr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Goodchick.
Yes. Approval of the activity count for class of 2022.
This is a formality to approve the activity account for the new freshman class, and any dollars they fundraise over the next 4 years.
Resolve Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the activity account for the class of 2022 as presented in the October 9, 2018 Board Agenda Package.
Second.
Go for the vote.
Mr. Smithing?
Yes.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Sierra?
Yes.
Mr. Goodchick.
Yes. Approval of an activity account for special education vocational program.
Resolved, the Board of Education Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves the activity account for the special education vocational program as presented in the October 9, 2018 Board Agenda Packet.
Second.
Was there any questions on this? What is this program for? What is this
Kristen?
activity account for?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was, they're looking to make buttons for various dances, and any of the proceeds would have to go into an activity account for future use of buying materials needed to potentially start up another fundraiser. So they just wanted to have some place to put their funds.
Okay. All right. Any questions? No. Go for the vote.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Sierra?
Yes.
Mr. Smithing?
Yes.
Mr. Goodchick.
Yes. Next item is approval of electricity contracts.
Scott, this is a first read for them, correct?
They saw it on my CFO report, saying that I was getting quotes from different vendors, and these were the quotes that I received.
Right, but this is
From
the
the
first time
vendors.
they're seeing the quotes or the example of the contract, right?
Yes.
So this
So
is the
those were
first,
just
this is the
sample
first
con-
read.
Well, I guess technically it could be.
You feel there's urgency to lock the prices in, like right now, versus 2 weeks from now?
I mean, it's ultimately a board decision. I'm just going off of what I am receiving from these different vendors with the trends that are out there.
Well, I talked to Kevin and sent him and Gary some information.
Mhm.
I read those agreements and I believe what they're only locking in the first year based on, and then you go to the market price for gas, what they call the Henry Hub here, and in the winter, the price could spike to 10 times what it is on a daily basis. So I talked to a couple people that I know that have some expertise here, and we may want to consider going back to them and saying what we need to get a cap or a collar or something on the subsequent 2 years, because you're signing an agreement that locks the price in for 1 year. In fact, one of them, it's unclear whether it's even locking it for a whole year.
No, all these terms that I have on here
Right.
are locked in fixed rate for the amount. So it's either
But for what period?
either 1 year, 2 years, or 3.
Well,
And I know the contract on the one did show was only locked in for a
both
small period,
contracts say.
and then it would go to a variable. But
Both.
that's incorrect. They were just samples of the contract.
Well, we got to be very careful. You got to get the contract that shows they're going to lock it in for 3 years if that's what they're going to do. I would read what they presented, that they're locking in the price at a lower rate for 1 year if you sign for a 3-year deal. But after the first year, based on the contract language they gave you, you would no longer get that rate. You would be based on the market rate. And you'd pay probably a significant greater amount than what you're paying now. So we definitely shouldn't take it as a sample, say, are you going to lock this in for 3 years at this rate? If you are, give us an agreement that says you're going to lock it in at that rate for 3 years, and see if that's what they come back with for you.
No, I understand. I did speak with the vendors today. All those rates are for 3 years locked in. Fixed.
Okay.
So then to get us then
I can get a
Get a sample
sample
agreement.
one with the 3 year locked in.
Okay.
My biggest concern was I wanted the board to see what the general terms and conditions were of their standard contract
Okay, well,
with it.
their standard contract should be, there should be significantly different language for locking it for 3 years than what they presented to you. So, I mean, some of it will be the same, but other parts will be completely
Mhm.
different. So I think what you need to do, and maybe in this instance, if you're concerned about the price of electricity fluctuating that much, for a price, it shouldn't, if you're talking about a June price for a 3-year lock in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
There's going to be some movement in it,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's going to be significant enough to make
So Scott, let me stop you and tonight, what were you looking for the board to approve? Because they don't have a contract to approve. And so are you asking for their go-ahead to get a contract?
My intentions was to get the approval from the board to move forward with trying to lock in the 3 year fixed, and then work with the vendor to actually take the terms that the board would approve, put that into a contract, and then obviously I would have to run that by district legal to make sure that they're in
You may need
agreement
more
with
than-
it.
You may need more than 2 weeks, or at least till the next meeting. I think what's confusing the board, and the reason I received a few questions from board members today, is the way this is written on the agenda. It says approval of electricity contract, and the contract that's in there is not even our contract. And then the contract doesn't, even though it was just a sample, I don't think it was clarified anywhere that it was only a sample. And so where the confusion is that it does not show locking in 3 years. So are you looking tonight from the verbal go-ahead from the board of this is a good idea if you can get 3 years fixed? And then go ahead and the direction from the board to like proceed now, get us a contract that says that?
Yes, that's what I would like to do is
Okay.
get a verbal, these are all fixed rates for 3 years. I understand that the one contract that's in there did say it was only locked for the one, and then it was variable for 2.
Okay, so
I wanted to get a standard contract into the board agenda to see if there was any issues within the general terms and conditions.
There
and
are,
then,
then we'll save you. These are not mutually exclusive events. In order for us as a board to have a feel for it, the rates have to be tied up with the language to know that that's really what they're presenting to us. So wasn't harmful to send out a proposed thing because they're going to tell you this terms are similar, but in my estimation, you need to go back to them and say, some of the board members are concerned this agreement is not an agreement for a 3-year fixed term, and they need to see that before we can agree to lock this in. Conceptually, it's a good idea, right?
yes.
The only other thing you can compare it to is what the market price projected over 3 years for electricity is, and what ComEd projects their price over 3 years, because we could buy it directly from ComEd too, right?
Mhm.
So, and is the IEC the one we've been using?
We are currently with the IEC.
Okay, and that's the
that's a 1 year
consortium.
fixed rate, correct?
We were locked in for, I believe, only the fixed energy cost was locked in on the electricity. So then we were paying on the other variables. So
Okay.
it was a little different
Okay.
type of contract that we were involved versus the fixed.
So big picture, you're asking us to, the general terms of this contract, I think we're all in agreement, we really can't approve it because you haven't gotten a contract that you're not showing us a contract that's going to lock us in for 3 years. Second thing I'm asking is, what is the volume number that's being put in this contract? Is that based on the max amount we've had every usage? Because I don't know where our natural gas usage has been for the past year, if it's been lower or higher. but isn't there a penalty in here that if you go over this locked amount, you're gonna go at market rates? Did I read in there correctly?
Yes, you're correct.
So did we go look historically when the max amount we've ever used and said, this is the max, this is the number we want to use as the basis?
Well, it has, I have it, all the rates are in there with our annual usage, which is roughly 4 million kilowatt hours
For electricity.
for electricity.
And that's been an
12.
average that we've been?
That's our average.
12,000.
For how many years?
And then 12,000.
Okay, and there's no,
Yeah, it
and
depends.
there's
on
no
when-
anticipation of using any additional electricity with demands that we've put on lately with new things that we've added in the last year or two?
Or less, because we're trying to do
The
some.
thing is, we've done a lot of
energy
energy efficiency stuff with the lighting.
And then what's the issue if we go less than this max? Do we pay a penalty?
No.
So so if we use less than the 4 million, there's no penalty. But if we go over, we're paying market rates.
Yeah, if
Like a
that's, how-
lease
if that's how
almost.
it's,
Well, we
if that's how it's set up.
So there's no
In order,
penalty.
well, wait a second. In order to actually, you're gonna have to make a monthly projection for them, right, throughout the term? Is that what you do now?
Well, what they've done is they've tracked our history
Yeah.
for the last 2 years on what our monthly volume is to come up with that
And they projected
average.
a month, the average,
Mhm.
but during the term,
monthly.
you project it on a monthly basis,
Mhm.
right? Because in air conditioning and electricity, you're gonna use
It's a
more
lot
in the
higher.
warmer, and because of the heat, you're gonna use more gas in the
Yep.
winter, right?
Exactly.
So we're not gonna have a steady usage.
Nope.
And then to answer Gary's question, I think you might want to follow up is, so we aren't going to take the 4 million and divide it by 12, right? To come up with the monthly usage. There's going to be more.
It varies from,
It's a
like you
little bit
said,
different for a school.
per the seasons.
Yeah. But there is, once we set the amount, don't we have to take delivery or pay for a minimal amount?
I'll have to verify.
And then if we go check that, and if we go over, there's a collar on the maximum amount, then we have to pay the market rate if we go over that, probably. I think you should check with them when you go back and ask for the agreement, to have them explain it in better detail, so you have.
And we're not going to have any unusual demands with the switch over of the new unit in the swim room, are we?
No, that's a high efficiency. I think what we need to do is just, Scott, make sure you know our 3 to 5 year history of our usage. Maybe instead of 2, get a 3 to 5 year. And then I think the board, am I accurate to say the board's okay with Scott pursuing
Yeah.
Absolutely.
a
Yeah, we're
draft
actually
contract?
definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely,
It's
just,
a good idea.
yeah.
So a better way to maybe phrase this in the future would just say you're looking for approval for the board to pursue this, and, and that this is only an example contract, because they can't really vote on anything that's not their contract and it's not our specific terms.
This is a little bit different than, say, last meeting. We voted on a contract, and there were 2 specific issues that we directed Kevin to go back and check with the attorneys and see if we wanted to make changes. But they weren't going to change the substantive business terms. It wasn't going to be like the price is going to be another penny a therm or something like that. It was more of do we need to clear this up a little? Where in this instance, it's a little unclear what they're actually proposing to you based on it's what they provided you, but it's unclear in my way of thinking.
Scott, I think a good way to prepare this is just get our historical, have them work up a draft contract that says it's locked in, put together a draft of what you're projecting for the months, and then we can bring it to the board. Okay? And I would say we do the same for gas as well. Is the board okay with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sky would just look at section under buyer obligations.
Under electric or gas.
Page 96, number 7. Just read through that and understand what that means. There's something about irregardless of reported volumes, there will be regardless of buyer's actual consumption. So just read that and understand what that is. I don't have to understand it, but make sure we're not locking ourselves into volumes that we're not going to even use. So, all right, let's move on. So we'll move on, both the electric, so we hit both the electricity and natural gas
Can
contract.
I point out
Go
one
ahead.
other one? On paragraph 5 of the same page, Scott,
Okay.
I highlighted the second sentence talks about if we go over the monthly tolerance, and there's a different provision that says if we're under the monthly tolerance, and that's what Gary originally asked the question about.
All right.
And I will forward to the whole board the 2 articles Mr. Walsh sent on doing these types of contracts, so the whole board has access to them. I sent them to Scott earlier this afternoon, so he'll be able to read those as well.
All right, so we hit both D and E, that was approval electric contracts, approval natural gas contracts. So we'll talk about the annual financial report, the fiscal 2018 audit. First read.
Okay, so the audit, the final draft for review for the board came in at the 11th hour, so Scott had that put on the agenda just as a first read. The tentative schedule is as follows. The auditor is scheduled to come to the COW meeting to review the audit. Prior to that, I know you've seen some questions submitted from Mr. Walsh just on different format and different information being provided. I worked with the auditor and Scott this afternoon to prepare like an executive summary of the audit and highlight some of the key changes and why those things changed. I sent that to the Finance Advisory Council this afternoon. I'll give them the next 24, 36 hours to review that. If they're okay with that, I'll put that in my Friday update, and we should be okay then with the auditor coming at the COW meeting in October. Overall, our audit still shows that we are financially stable and things are moving in the right direction. However, last year when we did the audit, we agreed to do an actuarial study every 2 years, and now that we're doing that, we have to follow. I'm way over my skis here, but we have to follow a new accounting principle called GASB 75, and so it just requires us to post additional information on our audit, which then would show why there was some change from 2017. So the auditor put together an executive summary. He highlighted the pages on some of the ones that Mr. Walsh sent in to show, hey, all the information's still there. It's just we're having to report some additional information. I will get that out to the board by the end of the week once Tim and Gary have had some time to review the executive summary. And I think that should provide you a good summary of the audit to where you should feel comfortable with the auditor sitting in front of you on TV, verbalizing that the financial status of the district's in sound condition. And if for some reason we receive too many questions or still some concerns, we can always have the auditor come back in November.
I'm almost done going through the whole thing. I'll give my comments by the end of the week.
Okay. And then I sent that executive summary to the two of you
I didn't
today.
get a
Yep,
chance to look at it.
got it.
Okay.
All right. Anyone have any questions for the first? No? All right, then let's move on to matters for closed session. Personnel, student discipline, individual student matters, sale or lease of property, pending or imminent litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety. This is a second opportunity for visitors. Seeing no visitors in the audience, we will move on. I will not read that statement. We did not have any discussion items. Is there any consideration of items for future meetings? Look to my left. Any? No? Look to my right? Nope. All right. Somebody want to read the motion?
Resolved, the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, here enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, student discipline, purchase or lease of real property, probable, imminent, or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety.
Okay, get a second?
Second. Sorry.
Go for the votes.
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Nero?
Yes.
Mr. Smithing?
Yes.
Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Gary.
All right, how about we get together and